Welcome back to another episode of the Server Performance Benchmark implemented in Swift. As you can see on our roadmap, we already talked about quite a lot of things. So if you missed it, go back in the channel, look at the list. I did an introduction to tell you what I'm going to use, what I want to do, everything. Then I had one episode simply for setting up the project, everything that has to be in the package.swift file. We already created the model, we created the database migration last time. Today we're going to do the repository service. Let's jump into Xcode. So, since I'm a little bit particular on how much stuff will be visible from different targets, I'm going to not show or be accessible to the book model. I really want to obfuscate that, so I want to have something different that is passed outside of this target, so I don't actually have to use the book model itself. So let's start with that. So this is going to be public, another namespace, and this is going to be the repository service models. So in here, I will have a public struct that will basically represent our book model. Nothing fancy. This is going to have all the different parts we already have in the database model. So basically title, author, publisher, and release date. All publicly available right here. The initializer will not be public because this one should only be initialized inside the target itself and then sent to somewhere else where you can actually get all the data from it. So let's see. Since this is definitely going to be a database object, I can make sure that the UUID is not optional. Then I have my title, which will of course be a string. I do have my author, that is also going to be a string. And the publisher, also a string, and the release date will of course be a date. That is about it, all I need for here. Okay, this is going to be the object that is actually going to be passed outside of this target. And by this target, I mean the service target. Okay, let's get to the protocol. This is also going to be public. And it's going to be a protocol for the repository service. So what kind of information do I need here? This is basically going to be some kind of representation for our endpoints. So this will be create a book, get a book by ID, get a book in a range, or get so many books. Then we have delete one book by ID, delete all books. Those are all the endpoints we have. So every single one of those endpoints needs, of course, represented in this service. Okay, so let's get started. We have simple function to create a book. And this, of course, needs a title, an author, a publisher, and the release date. Okay, this is going to be async throws, and as a return object, I will get the repository service models.book. Okay, let's get the small. So pretty easy. Whoops. Okay. Create a book with title, author, publisher, release date, and you will get back a book, which eventually represents a book model from the database. Okay, so then we have two get book calls. get book with ID. This is going to be a UUID, and this will be anything throws. And this time I will return this, but this might be optional, because if you just send any arbitrary ID and I don't have a book for it, you won't get any. So I could handle this with throws and tell you, oh, idiot, I don't know this ID. I will just throw it and make this non-optional, but I like it this way a little better. Okay, so then I have get books. And here I need some kind of limit. So this will be a limit. Of course, this will be async and throws. And here I will do an array. This one won't be optional because empty array is also an option that I can have. So no books in it, then I can just return empty array. Okay, and with that, let's come to the delete part. Delete book with ID. This is of course being UUID. This one is only going to be anything in throws. You don't really get anything back when it works, because why would you? You will, as a HTTP status code, you will probably get back okay, but in here, you don't really need anything. Same thing for delete all books. This is just going to be async throws. If something went wrong, then I can let you know with an error I can throw, but otherwise it's just the way it is. Okay, this looks pretty simple. Let's get to the implementation. So the implementation will of course not be public. So this will be a repository service impl. The naming, of course, always gets some discussion going. I like it that way because that way you have the repository service impl will only be used internally and never publicly, and outside you will just call it repository service, which is nice. Okay, in here I need a reference. Oh wait, I might need to add some imports here. I think FluentKit might work. So here I need a reference to my database. And of course, I also need an initializer. Then I can add some helper functions to actually query or look over the database object. So let's start with those. Private query builder, and I'm going to use the book model. Book model dot query on and this is going to be it. Then I have private query ID, which will basically return the one object with this ID. Query builder with book model. And this time I'm already using the query and saying filter. That is about it. It's all what the actual implementation of the repository service impl needs. And now all the other things I need are going to be covered by the protocol. So I will do an extension on repository service impl and repository service. Okay, let's run this so that you are so right. Import foundation. It's needed here as well. Import foundation. Why did nobody tell me? Function, and now we're getting down to hopefully somewhere to the point where I want to go. There you go. Add them all. All right. Pretty simple. So let's start. Let model equals book model, no ID, title, author, publisher, release date. And then I'm going to say try await model dot save on database. And if everything works as expected, I'm going to return try model, wait, now I have a book model and this doesn't work. Okay, what do I need? I need to do some kind of magic to convert the repository service models book from a book model. Okay, so let's do this. Public enum repository service models. Nope, wrong one. I need all bad. Private extension book model. And I need a function to DTO that will eventually return a repository service book. Okay, so this should be pretty simple because I can just say init here, can say ID, whoops, ID, title, author, publisher, and release date. So let's see. Okay, never mind, doesn't work. The problem here is it's optional. I do know if I use it on a book model, this should work, but let's do this correctly. And let's extract the ID first. Let ID equals try self required ID. And then I can say do this. Whoops. Okay. So what do I have here? Non-optional ID. Perfect. And let's make it pretty. There you go. Okay. To model. And now, of course, this also has to throw. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, so dot and try this. Perfect. Should work. Let's do get book. Okay, let book. Stick to the naming. Let model equals try await query. No, I need it with ID and I want the first one. So if that works fine, then I can return try model dot to DTO. Should be fine. So if this fails, then it will throw over here. This one is optional, which I don't unwrap anywhere. So still here, this could be optional. So if there's no book model with this ID, this will be empty, and then here empty, and then this will be optional. Otherwise, could throw here, could throw here. Just making sure this works perfectly fine. Okay, so let's get to the next one. This is actually a lot easier than I thought. So let models try await query. limit with limit and convert it to books, and then I can say return try models dot map try to DTO. That should work. Okay, perfect. Let's get to delete. Let model equals try await. Query, no, I do have an ID, so I'm going to do this. This as well, and then return, wait, nope. Try, await. Model dot delete self database. Pretty simple. Okay. Basically the same thing, but for a whole bunch of them. Let's get all of the books. Let models equals try await query all. Perfect. And now try await models dot delete self dot database. So nice, so easy. Okay. Since all this is basically not accessible publicly, I need to do some magic here. So we need a service factory. Pretty easy. I want to import foundation, import FluentKit, public namespacing service factory, and again a static function that will make a repository service with a database, and this is of type any database, and it will actually return the repository service, not impl, just the protocol type. And this one will be pretty easy, so repository service input perfect database. That's it. So now everything is hidden somewhere else. This is going to be public because I need this to be publicly available. This is all going to be not public, private into the target itself. This is going to be the only object that leaves the target. And here I have my entry point from the outside to say, hey, service factory, create my repository service with this database, and you're all set. That was fun. Today, repository service done. Okay, next time we'll talk about the executable implemented, and I hope you had fun. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.